Hi, welcome to Urban Legends. I'm Jeff Dixon, and we're looking at urban legends. Some you may have heard of, some you may not have heard of. All of them real from the standpoint of they represent events, places, times, things, stuff that has become larger than life to the point that they've stepped into the arena of being a real urban legend. This one has to do with a mass-produced portrait that survived engulfing flames, even when the whole house burnt down around the portrait, which remained untouched and intact. This is the urban legend of the Crying Boy paintings. Maybe you've heard of them. See, in a world of cursed artwork, few have achieved the legendary status of the Crying Boy prince. According to British tabloids and many spooked homeowners, these paintings have a knack for surviving house fires, and they leave utter chaos in their wake. Let's set the scene. It's the 1980s, somewhere in England. An ordinary suburban home is reduced to blackened rubble after a mysterious blaze. Among the ashes, firefighters find something unsettling, a portrait of a young boy, cheeks stained with tears, completely untouched by the flames, even though everything around them has been destroyed. For some people, it's just a creepy occurrence. But when it reportedly keeps happening again and again, in house after house, with copies of this same exact painting always left unscathed, coincidence starts to look something more like a curse. The paintings themselves were done by an Italian artist known as Bruno Amadillo, who reportedly churned out dozens of these woeful portraits in the 1950s. Then mass-produced prints and landed in British homes, and they watched over mantelpieces and hallways until The Sun, a British tabloid, splashed out a story in 1985 that turned the art overnight into an urban legend. According to a report, firefighters swore they found the crying boy in the ruins of multiple house fires, always eerily intact, even though there was utter destruction all around them. The Sun began the story with the story of May and Ron Hall, whose home of 27 years burnt down, but not their crying boy painting. The couple just laughed off warnings that there was a jinx on the picture. This tot in the picture with tears running down his face, cute, innocent, sad. But as the debris was pulled away, sure enough, the crying boy painting was there. Rumors continued to spread quickly. People whispered that the painting was haunted, or that the soul of a suffering child had somehow gotten trapped inside. Was the boy a gypsy child that was cursed by his family? That was one of the legends. Did something terrible happen to the artist model? Another legend that began to emerge. As the story grew, so did the panic. People began writing letters to the Sun, desperate to get rid of their paintings, and lo and behold, nobody wanted their paintings because they thought the paintings were cursed. Some people went as far as saying they tried to burn the prints, but the prints wouldn't burn. The Sun even staged a massive bonfire in October 1985, encouraging people to send their cursed art for public destruction. They received sackfuls of crying boys and burnt them in a spectacle meant to nail the curse of the crying boy. Did it work? Well, maybe. Reports of the phenomena did decrease significantly after it was done. And so the Sun was able to burn some of the paintings. In the year 2010, an investigation by the radio show Punt P.I. suggested the prints were coated with a fire-resistant varnish, which was why they were so adverse to burning. Now, did the artist actually coat each of these paintings with that varnish that was a non-flammable type of varnish? No one ever knows. But to this day, If you have one of those crying boy paintings, there is a bit of fear and trepidation when you put it on the wall, because behind it, in the wake of the crying boy painting, there always is destruction. And the only thing that won't be destroyed is the crying boy painting. And that's the legend. And so you have to ask yourself, do you believe that urban legend to be real? Do you really think if you had that painting on the wall and your house burnt down, that would be the only thing that didn't burn? Well, I leave that for you to decide. Because sometimes urban legends can become the stuff of legacy and you never get away from them. In our next episode, we're going to look at some of the spiritual implications of the crying boy paintings and try to discover together some lessons that we can learn that will make our lives better, even if we don't have a painting on the wall of the crying boy. I look forward to joining you next time.